3, 2, 1.
Check it out.
Okay, Kron, if you want to call up the first slide, maybe I should rearrange my screen so I can see it.
Yeah, I got the title up right now. Is that the right one, or should I move along?
Good to see we have a bunch of folks in here today. That's a good thing, shows we're growing. Okay, do you have it up on your screen?
Yeah, I have the title page.
Okay, once again, I'm having a technical difficulty where I can't see it. So I'm going to go to the presentation on my side so I can see it, and then I'll just ask you to change slides. Okay,
Perfect.
my presentation today is on the long-term portfolio plan. And the subtitle, how can I do this if I'm broke? Well, let's go to the next slide and find out. Okay, my recommendation is do a budget that allows you to live, first and foremost, for your lifestyle, and include in your budget a plan for your future. From the book The Richest Man in Babylon, they had a 10% rule of saving for your future. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad's cash flow quadrant, you want to go from a worker to an entrepreneur, or the investment side of the quadrants. If you're in a relationship, the couple must agree on the budget and lifestyle. If the two of you want to invest for the future, you have to have a plan together so that both support the budget, both support the plan for the future. If money is a problem in the couple's relationship, you got to work on that first. I'm 68 years old, well, excuse me, 66, and I've been through a divorce. I'm in a rock solid relationship now, but divorces can be very costly. So if you have a spouse, you got to treat each other first and foremost as equals, so that you can put a plan together that you agree on and both agree to work. Both agree to work the plan, that is. Okay, if you're single, all of your accounts must have a beneficiary. Example, your stock account or an IRA account, a bank account. You would want to list someone, a niece, nephew, parent, anything, so that in the event you pass away for any reason, die in a car wreck, get hit by a bus, that money isn't going to go to the state, it's going to go to someone you love. That's much better estate planning than letting the government have your money. Also, set realistic goals for short-term, mid-term, long-term. This will be guided by your portfolio composition, for example, with real estate, a Roth IRA, individual retirement account, bank accounts, tax liens, any of that stuff. Excuse me. Okay, let's move on. Okay, for a policy, you have to realize this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So change your mindset when it comes to your long-term portfolio. A 7% annual return is 0.00583% return per month. May not seem like much, but with the compounding effect, or the dividend compound, interest compound effects, it makes your money grow. And if you're on a budget and you're practicing the budget, it gets easier and easier to follow the program, follow your plan. An emergency fund, this is something that's really critical. There's a crazy statistic, like 80% of American families can't afford an emergency $400 repair to their car. Well, keep the statistic, put $400 bills in a Tupperware in your freezer so you've always got some. And that emergency fund is going to be built up over time. I like the target of 3 months. Some financial advisors say 6 months expenses literally in a cash savings account. And that's to cover emergencies. If you were to lose your job, you'd at least have a few months' pay to try to recover and get a new job. It's looking out for your family as well as looking out for your future. Okay, got to give a big shout out to Stonk and Low Key. Joined one of their presentations on Twitter in the DD Dummies class Sunday afternoons. Begin researching stocks or electronic traded funds that you want to invest in. That's the best way to start. Do some research. And I do not want you to start with Apple, Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon, or Nvidia. And the reason, I know it says ask why, but the reason is that those stocks have had great runs over the last 5, 7, 10 years. So they've already done their exponential growth. Their increases over the next year, they may be 15, 20%, are not going to be that 1,000% gainer that's possible. That's actually going to come from some other company at this point. So check stock tickers have been paying increased dividends longest. Those are the ones that you're going to want to research and find out what their stock values are so that you can begin with your first brick on your wall of wealth, which would be a monthly deposit to a dividend reinvestment program. For example, I started with AT&T in the 80s. It was a great stock, paid a decent dividend. The stock was anywhere from $35 to $45 a share for about 6, 7 years. And all of those quarterly dividends were compounding. Every quarter it was buying more shares. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is life experience advice, specifically mine. This is like a historical record at this point. It's not financial advice. But if you start with a drip, it's a good way that you can work it into your budget. And the amount that you put in is determined by your budget amount. Also, if you have a rich target for 10% or even more, as you agree to with your partner or spouse, whatever, that's a great way to start because you immediately see results. And if you start small and increase the monthly deposits over time as your budget allows, and at every opportunity, you're going to see that it's more important to get more money into that investment side. So when you get a pay raise, you can up the amount that you invest. Or if you have a significant credit card that you've paid off, that payment could also apply to your investment. That's how I built mine up really quick. Got a car paid off. I raised the investment amount from 50 to almost 200 bucks. So if you follow that plan, you're going to see as your brick gets bigger, it may be time to pick a new brick, a new stock. But you hold that brick, hold that AT&T stock, for example, and you just let the dividends keep paying into your account and buying more shares. But if you invest in something on a monthly basis, this is the dollar cost averaging system, and at compound interest or compound dividend principle, it means that every quarter or every month your account grows. So if you start with an allocation of $600 to $1,000 per ticker, that would be one brick. And when you get up to that size, then consider picking a new company and repeat the above, and then do it again. Let's move on. Okay, I have a $10,000 to $50,000 start. This account holder, it could be anybody in this room. Once per year, you need to reassess your risk profile. What that means is look critically at each of your holdings, each of your bricks, and ask yourself the question, how has this performed in the last year? All of your stock account companies, brokerage firms, send you monthly statements. Well, if you pick a month, say August, and every August you do your review, you can see how the stock has performed for the last year. It'll be on your statement, and you can decide to hold it, sell it, or buy more. And you do that based on its performance. So as you're holding it in your account, you're evaluating it once a year, and your target of 2,000 to 4,000 for each brick means that you've got anywhere from 5 to 8 or 12 bricks in your account, and that's how you get a better balance for your risk profile. So the target here would be $2,000 to $4,000 for each brick in your wall. Continue the monthly deposits to separate accounts. For example, know what the tax benefits are for a Roth IRA first. That's where your first money should go. And to a personal IRA second. And third is a private account after tax. And know the reasons why for each account type. Your 10% savings allocation can go to each one of those on a monthly basis if you have them set up, so that tax benefit is in your favor, but you also have money in a private account that's after tax, meaning you're going to have to pay tax on the gains in that account every April. But it also means that as that account grows, it means you have an immediate liquid asset that you can have the money in your hands in 3 days. So that's always a good one to have as part of your emergency plan. Because, quote, you've already paid tax on some of that money, and you're only going to pay tax on the additional gains during that year. Also, get a relationship with a tax accountant or advisor. You want somebody that you can trust that's going to give you good advice on taxes, and they're very knowledgeable about the tax system, because they're going to be the person that can make suggestions that can save you money over time. I worked with the same accountant from 1985 to 2011. And the guy was great. My taxes were always prepared perfectly. I got back money every year because I stacked my deductions so that I would pay more tax that was going to possibly be due, so that I always got a refund. That was just part of how I did business. And for each of those accounts, you have to have a beneficiary. It can be your spouse, your girlfriend, a niece, nephew, child. It's all part of the estate planning, but you need to consider it early. Okay, do we have any questions so far? I'm trying to look at the.
How do the distributions work for these IRA accounts? I'm not American, so I don't quite understand how it works when you go to take the money out.
When you put money into a tax-deferred account, it means that you don't pay income tax on the money that you deposit into that account. The downside is that when you take a distribution or take money out of that account, it means that you have to pay tax on that amount, and it would be at your regular tax rate.
I see. Here in Canada, we have this thing called tax-free savings account, and you do not pay taxes on withdrawals from that account ever, because the money goes in, it's after tax. Is there a similar account in America?
It would be just a normal brokerage account or a normal savings account. But we always have to pay tax on the increase in value over time.
Right, so that sucks. So we got one up on you there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. If you're in a different country, I would definitely, some things are going to be the same, some things are going to be different. But, the idea behind the process of the saving and the things like that would be the same. But the details and technicalities of how it works may be different. So if you're in a different country, I would definitely, look into that.
Yeah, believe me, folks, the relationship with a tax accountant is one that you're going to want to get. They can save you thousands by giving you good advice in advance. So if you get a gift from a relative of $10,000, say, or your grandma passes away and all the grandkids get $10,000. A quick payout like that could be used, for example, to purchase a piece of real estate that you could turn into a rental that would be monthly income for as long as you own it. That's called opportunity money. So anytime you have an opportunity, that's when you need to consult your tax attorney, tax consultant, and ask the question, what can I do with 10 grand and how can I get future benefit from it? That would be a great conversation with an accountant. Okay, let's go back to the next slide. Okay, long-term portfolio plan. I control my destiny. My account is greater than $100,000. Just an interesting note here, the current 401k balance for baby boomers, folks my age, the retirement account is worth a little less than $250,000. That is the quote average. So I'm real happy to say I was an overachiever, but once your account gets up to 100,000, that's when you need to expand your wall, shall we say, to include things like real estate, maybe some bonds, and other outside tax-deferred accounts, additional long-term passive income. One that's not talked about a lot, but there's a guy on the internet right now with a fancy ad, is property tax liens. You get a greater percent return. It's actually the percent return is maxed in each state. So Louisiana is going to be different than Texas. Texas is going to be different from Illinois. Illinois is going to be different from California. But it's determined by the state, and you can charge the maximum or anything less anything under that. But here in California, I believe it's 18%. So 18% return on a $5,000 property tax lien, that's a decent return over the course of a couple of years. Also, municipal bonds are a product that a lot of cities and states, you know, they float a bond issue and you pay 10,000 bucks for the bond. Well, a municipal bond is federal tax free, meaning you don't pay any income tax from the interest you earn on a municipal bond. So it means that a 4% bond is actually, you know, you multiply that by whatever your tax rate is, say 20%, and that $10,000 bond, the $400 interest per year that it pays, you know, on a 4%, your actual yield is closer to 600 because of the tax effect. It's just another thing to discuss with your tax attorney. That's also another way to increase the returns of your total overall portfolio. And again, once a year, form a risk management of the portfolio contents, meaning you've picked August, so now as your account's grown, every August you're going to check progress on your stocks, see which ones have the greatest gains. Some are less value than the year before. You want to check the difference between the dividend it paid and its total value. If you lost money, sell it and buy something else that's paying a little better dividend rate. And also, once a year, adjust your household budget to reflect changes over time. Like if you have a baby or the kids are starting to grow up and now you got to buy soccer gear and knee pads and shin guards and all that good stuff. Believe me, that stuff adds up over time and it can have an effect on your budget. Also, vacation plans, or if you need to help your mom and dad, or your kids are older and you're having to come up with college expenses. Hopefully you've planned for that in the future, or 10 years ago you were planning on doing it, so you do have the money to help them out. Also, in 401k and IRA accounts and other tax deferred accounts have a trap, meaning that the higher your total income, higher your personal tax rate to make a withdrawal. That's the trap that I'm in right now. If I take out $5,000 in a month, what gets deposited in my checking account is actually $3,000 because of that tax. 28 for state, 28 for federal, and 10% for the state of California. So my marginal cost of money is literally 40%. Young retirees should know about IRS code 72T. Now, what is that? Consult with your tax accountant, but let's say you put, you put some money in your after-tax account and you play some options and you have an example like Queen mentioned just before we started, where they put 500 bucks in and got 17,000 out and then lost it all. Well, they're still going to owe tax on that 17,000 because it was a taxable event. So even though they lost it all, yes, they can deduct those losses, but there's still going to be a tax at the end of the year, believe me. Because you can't take all the losses as a one-for-one. Once you get up above a certain amount, it has to be stretched out over different years. So if you have a $10,000 loss, or in this case, the $17,000 loss, you're only going to be able to use $3,000 of that loss this year. Then you would have 5 more years you would be able to take that 3,000, and then the last year would be not quite 3,000. So it's a bummer, but if you have a big gain, you immediately should take 25% of that money and put it in a cash savings account so that you do have it to pay the tax in April. Now, back to the 72T. What does that mean? Well, if instead of $500 in that previous example, they did $5,000, would increase the winning amount, shall we say, or the gain to 170,000. Well, that's some pretty serious change. If you have that 170,000 in your savings account, you're going to need about 50,000 for the tax. Just rough numbers here. Well, 45,000. And if you have it in a IRA or IRA account, when you start to take that money out, if you decided to retire at age 36 because you did 15 of those in 1 year, well, the 72T means that you can take substantially equal payments per year and not pay the prepayment penalty to the IRS for a early withdrawal. So if you've got $5 million in your IRA and you took 100,000 a year, as long as you keep taking that 100,000, there's no prepayment penalty. You only pay the normal tax rate. That's the benefit of the 72T. For example, when I got my divorce, that was the way that my wife was able to take money out of her account every year and not have to work. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Also in your I Control My Destiny account, greater than 100,000, continue making deposits in appropriate accounts, occasionally choosing a new brick or a new ticker. Consider buying inflation protected savings bonds or I bonds, and that'll also help enhance your total return on assets. And annually perform the risk assessment and make adjustments. One of the things that I started doing back in the 90s is if the stock that I had is paying dividends, but it's increased in value by 20% or more, I would sell that and pick another stock that paid a higher dividend rate. So I was always laddering up my total return on all of the assets in the account. Okay, next slide. Here's the fun one with a whole bunch of math. Here's a formula for your long-term planning. If you desire $5,000 per month retirement income, 5K times 12 is $60,000 per year. How much do you have to have invested in the account, in your long-term account, LTA, for a $60,000 payout? Well, if your balance in your account is paying 5%, you would need $1.2 million in your account to get $60,000 per year. A 6% return means it's only $1 million in your long-term account. Well, you can see the numbers there as you go down. A 10% return on your account of $600,000 gives you $60,000 per year. When I retired back in 2014, my balance, I don't mind divulging here, was $520,000. In the last 9 years, I've taken $450,000 out of the account, you know, the $60,000 per year for 9 years. But what does that mean is the balance in my account? Does that mean I'm down to $150,000? No, because the account was doing better than that. My account value has increased every year since then. So my point being, if you have a budget that you can live by and you have a lifestyle and you save over time, you can support your retirement of comfort and pleasure without having to spend a whole lot of dollars. Have everything I want, or I should say I have everything I need. If I want something, I go to the store and buy it. It's that simple. My budget has always been comfortable lifestyle, and I enjoy that. So I can go out to lunch or out to dinner anytime I'd like. And a phrase I've used in other environments before, in my younger days, many times there was too much month at the end of the money. But in my retirement, there's always too much money at the end of the month. Okay, next slide. Method number 2, the day trader. If you open a brokerage account, and I know there's a lot of people on this server that are traders, stock traders. If you already have an account, that's great. I commend you for it. And the younger you are, the bigger your balance, the better off you're going to be later. Paper trade during your journey. Your journey, learn it well. Open a brokerage account, start with a small balance. I recommend the paper trading first, but you can still make deposits to your IRA accounts and just leave it in cash for a while. This is a program. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So when you have a portfolio record, a 70% win rate, you're ready to trade with real money. Because keep in mind, a 50% win rate is still a losing hand in Vegas. Going back to my other class, risk management is critical, as you all know. At a $5 risk, with a $500 account, will allow you 100 trades before your account is empty. If you had every single one of them was a loser. But if you stick to your $5 risk, you're getting killed by 1,000 paper cuts. If you have a win rate of 70%, meaning you win 70 of 100 trades, your actual results will be determined by your risk-reward success rate. 2-to-1 success rate would result in an account balance of 850. And here again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. A 3-to-1 success rate, meaning risk to reward, is 3 times your risk. That would result in an account balance of 1,200. So we go to the next slide. At the end of each month, 30% of the gains should go in a taxable account to be transferred. Excuse me, got it messed up here. At the end of each month, 30% of the gains in a taxable account to be transferred to a cash savings account for payment of taxes next April. That means the 350 gain multiplied by 30% is $105. Your new account balance would be $745, but you see it's getting bigger. Then you transfer 10% or more of the gains to a long-term portfolio IRA account or Roth IRA. Be $35. Again, decreasing your balance in your account down to $710, but you're still up. Go into the next month, do the same thing. As your balance increases and your success rate increases, your results will grow larger each month. Your success rate increases greatly, then you can earn a living as a trader. But you have to look at your budget. What's your budget? To be a full-time trader means that you have to cover your bills with your income. So you have to be a little more conservative with your trading because you can't afford the losses. Keep the gains and avoid the losses. Be careful to stay ahead of the IRS. Nobody wants that problem. And then repeat each successive month. Next slide. Oh, we're done. Any questions?
For the ones that are new here, you can verbally, ask questions, unmute yourself and ask questions, or if you look to the right-hand side, there's this little chat icon. Click on that, and in there is where we send messages, and you can ask there. But do keep in mind when we do the quiz, you just can't answer that verbally. You can only answer that via the messages just for this call. But shoot away, ask some questions, y'all.
Just want to say thanks, Ronnie. This is a great, informative lesson, and it's refreshing to hear this kind of messaging, where a lot of the noise from day to day is just about, is Tesla going to the moon?
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've avoided the high press stocks. I'm sorry, what was that?
I think that's just a crocodile.
Now, when they revamp them up there, they just bring all those trucks in for just that area. That kind of, that'll at least be a nice thing for you. That they're all whacked.
Yeah, they brought them all in. They're all brand new.
Yeah, that you won't have 3 or 4 different fucking trucks at that location.
Yeah.
That'll be one night.
So they're all brand spanking new. They even bring a brand new one for a spare.
Wait, is someone talking on the call, or are they having a conversation in the background?
Instead of having like all those big bulk routes, they're going to get back.
That was somebody chatting in the background with somebody else.
Yeah, Big Hammer has his mic on.
Okay.
I don't know. And run that next truck.
You mute yourself.
I muted him.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing a lot of messages that they're saying they love the information. And just so you know, the presentation, his PowerPoint will be posted in our PowerPoints and right there. So you'll be able to find all previous class PowerPoints there. It's under our study section. The class will be recorded and posted on YouTube once Frederick is done editing it. And, that's one of the things that, like Dinglewood had said, it's one of the things I love about this. We have classes on everything. Ronnie did before risk management. Now he's doing investing. We've had classes on, mental health in the market. Me and Kron did a class with, based on the book Trading the Zone with Mark Douglas. We've done technical analysis. We've done like what CPI and all that different stuff means. We do if it has anything to do with the stock market, we do the classes, flow. And just because someone else has done a class on it, doesn't mean you can't do a class on it. If you feel like you have something to add, just because we had a class on flow doesn't mean you can't give a class on flow. If you feel like you're good at something, you have something to add and you want to teach, please, please, please step up and let us know. If you want to do a class on candlesticks, we have baby traders that need to learn candlesticks. I think a lot of us need refreshers on that. So absolutely. And I was seeing the chat flying. Ronald, you're definitely sparking some conversations and getting people thinking about their future. I love it.
I actually have one quick question for Ronnie, Queen.
Okay.
I have a Roth IRA and I have a pension, Ronnie, but me and my wife have a separate account for long-term trades. The ones that you actually mentioned to start with, we actually do have those. I guess my question would be, and this might be the wrong kind of question for you, because I know a lot of people don't like to recommend what to get into long term, but that is my question. Is there anything right now that you'd recommend long term to invest in? Like what stock?
Okay, it's best to do some research, but I can give you a couple of tickers that are high dividend paying. And you said you had a after tax account, right? Both you and your wife?
Oh, sorry, I had my mic off. Yes.
Okay. The ticker symbol is IEP. That's Icon Enterprises. They pay almost 15% dividends. And there's also the JP Morgan long-term dividend growth ETFs. It's JEPI and JEPX. All three of those, okay, JEPX or JEPI. Now, the reason I say those three is they're specifically partnerships, meaning at the end of the year, you're going to get a K1 form from the funds. If you have that in a IRA account, the brokerage is going to have to prepare a tax return for you, just that item. But if it's in a personal account, like the one for you and your wife, long-term account, then you would get the K1 form at the end of the year, and your tax accountant would take care of all of the details associated with that. So it pays a high return, but it's a partnership. And if it's in, just imagine if you had a Fidelity account and you had all three of those in your IRA account, Fidelity would have to prepare a partial tax return for you. Okay. And believe me, they charge an arm and a leg for it. So you don't want to have that in your long-term account in a brokerage house. You want that in your regular cash account that's subject to tax each year.
Okay.
Okay.
So can you say those three again? I just want to make sure I have them right.
Okay.
IEP.
Iodine, Edward, Paul.
Okay.
That's Icon Enterprises.
Okay.
The JP Morgan accounts or ETFs are Junior, Executive, Power, Income.
Okay.
And the other one is Junior, Executive, Power, X-Ray.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I really appreciate that. And
okay, this is not financial advice.
Right, I am.
Hold on. Not financial advice. We've all got our big boy pants on today. But it's life experience advice. I've held all three of those at one time.
Okay.
Okay? They do produce good dividends, but there is the tax consequence at the end of the year with the K1 form, because if they take losses, you're going to have a discount on your total payout, but it also exposes you to taxes from the partnership value.
Okay. And you said it's best to use a cash account for these?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. Thank you so much for, you're just a load of knowledge. And like Queen said, I think everyone here that's attending this class really appreciates what you have to give to this. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The reason I'm doing this, folks, quite frankly, and doing it for no charge, is I believe in the server. I believe in the principles of this server, that everybody's trying to help somebody out. So I have historical knowledge. I have investment knowledge, but it's all from doing my own research over time. And it's practicing a program. And that monthly deposit that I made into the retirement accounts, I didn't miss many months. So if you keep in mind that the long-term benefit to a long-term account is time. Get those high dividend paying stocks and let them pay you over time. That's the best way to build wealth in the long run, is to have that long-term attitude. Keep pounding money into those accounts, the Roth IRA, the IRA, and the personal account. They all have benefits to you, and when you retire, it means you have choices. You have choices of where to take money from which accounts. You may also have a pension from your employer, or you may have a 401k type account, or you may have just personal savings. Back in 1991, when I did official retirement planning because of the health issue, the plan was to make deposits every month. And it was specific numbers so that I could retire when I was 55. Unfortunately, the divorce came along and cost me a bunch of money. And I ended up having to work until I was 57 and a half. But when I retired, I had all the money I needed. And it was because of that start at $50 a month in 1981. The benefit is the long-term effect. You can't see it when you're 27 years old, but that's when those deposits have the most value, the ones that are made early. So for Mr. Snag that's 18 years old, hey buddy, start pounding those accounts. Any other questions?
And I just
Any other questions before we go to the quiz?
I just want to throw out real quick. You know how we talked about bridging the gap. So Cash Flow Kid, he is in the server as well, and he's here in the class. He has a book club that he does on Twitter, and they do weekly calls and they read the book. And it's, you know, on financial stuff. You know, Ronnie attends it. Sometimes I do stock, etc. So, you know, that's also a good thing to hit up. There's so many resources and so many people willing to go on that journey with you, and, you know, share their knowledge. And yeah, there's so many resources. And, you know, I've been lucky enough to come across these people. And, you know, we just keep growing and growing and growing with the people that are willing to share. And I'm so grateful for that. Any last questions before we get to the quiz? The quizzes get crazy. Now, remember, if you're new, you can only answer the quizzes in the text part for the class. So if you look to the right-hand side, you're going to see the little icon. You just click on that, and then you'll see all of our text messages. I think they are ready for the quiz.
Yeah, and last time we had some problem pasting. I'm gonna end the stream so they don't see the answers. Last time we had trouble pasting the quiz questions, but I'm gonna give it a try. Give me a minute.
Okay, so Ronnie will read the question, and then the first one to answer correctly gets the point, and the one with the most points at the end wins the quiz, and you'll get the certificate, and you'll get the trophy, the medal next to your name, and you'll get put in to possibly win the $100 at the end of the month, and or the $300 at the end of the quarter. Okay, I think they're ready, Ronnie.
Yep. I'm not going to be able to post text in the chat, so you have to listen careful to what Ronnie says here.
Okay, question one. I am a broke investor. What do I do first?
You tell me who gets it correct first, Ronnie.
Okay.
Do you see anybody who put the correct answer first? Yeah. Ronnie?
I'm traveling down here trying to see the texts.
First one we got make a budget, rainy day fund, yourself, pay tax, earn budget, tax, get rich, emergency funds, pay off debt.
Well, actually, it looks like Cash Flow Kid got it. Make a budget.
Okay. At 1 point for cash flow kid.
Yep.
Are you counting the points?
Yep, I'm doing the points.
Right.
Okay, question 2. I'm a single broke investor. What should I have on all of my accounts?
I think Danglewood got it.
Isn't nominee and beneficiary the same?
Oh, nominee and beneficiary are the same?
Well, Danglewood has benefactor, but that's not quite right. Cash flow's right with beneficiary.
Well, actually, Sned, he's in a different country. I guess they call it something else.
We call it nominee, yes.
So technically,
So
Sned would get it. Technically,
Okay,
Sned
so
would get it. Okay, next question.
Question 3. I'm a broke investor. How much should I allocate for each brick? Danglewood got it. 600 to 1,000. Yeah, each brick should be 600 to 1,000 in size. Okay, question 4. I am a part-time trader. I trade in my IRA account and my personal account. By way of percentage, how much money do I transfer to a savings account from my personal trading account gains every month for income tax? Let's see. Looks like Snake got it first. 30%.
On the question before, the previous one, I noticed that Reaper put 600, but did you want the 600 to 1,000 as the answer? Just so we don't miss his...
Yes. I wanted to see 600 to 1,000.
Okay.
Okay, last question. What paper trading success rate do I need to achieve before trading with real money? Looks like Arpoon. I think Arpoon was first.
All right, if that's the end of the question, if that's the end of the questions, then Sned won today.
Congratulations.
Yay, Sned. Today was a really, really awesome class. I love when you teach, Ronnie. I love it. I love it. You come with numbers and statistics and I love it. I love when everybody teaches a class. I'm so grateful to all of y'all. If y'all don't have any last minute questions, we'll go ahead and get in the call. Again, remember, the PowerPoint will be posted in our PowerPoint section. When Frederick is done editing the video, we will post the recording of the class on YouTube. Thank you again, LittleRonnie, so much. He's on Twitter as well. He posts a bunch of awesome stuff. So if y'all want to follow him, I'm going to post a link right now to one of his Twitter posts. And again, we're all about bridging the gap, bringing people together from Reddit, from Twitter, Discord. We want, what's important the most is that retail learn the game and learn how to make money. We want our piece of the money pie. And so bridging that gap, putting all the brains together, sharing that knowledge, that's the way to go.
Something I didn't mention in the class, but I mentioned that I started with $50 in AT&T stock. By the time I retired, that number had increased to almost $6,000 a month going into investment accounts. So it's a pretty big spread from start to end. But it's something that, as your budget will allow, I encourage you to increase it whenever you can. Also, Queen, Tuesday I'm going to have a recommendation for a stock play, and I got some details to back it up with. Sweet.
I love that. Ronnie does that too. Every once in a while, he'll research and come up with it's like a really, really good, safe play. Nothing is 100% guaranteed, but he's great at finding those nuggets for us. They're not bangers, and he's huge on risk management. But it's plays that has good risk management, great for those beginners, great for the ones who are experienced and want money. We all want money in our account, so it's great for everyone, and we love that. All right, well, we went over 17 minutes. Sorry about that, but y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Ronnie, thank you so much for teaching this class. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you to everyone who steps up and teaches classes and who helps, Frederick, who records the videos and different things like that. Doc makes our weekly videos showing highlights from the server. We're just learning and growing together. And I will post the link to Stonk's call, their third and final one for mental health in the markets this evening. I will definitely be there. Hope to see you all there. And thank you for allowing us to enact our dreams of helping others, having an impact on the world. So y'all have a great rest of your Sunday, and thank you all. I appreciate all of you.
I just want to add real quick that I'm going to post draft the rules for the contest in the contest room, but feel free to ask questions before we start tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep, because it's a really rough draft, so it may have to be fixed a bit before tomorrow. But if you find anything weird or unclear, just ask.
All right, awesome. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, all.